Welcome back to an interesting episode of Care for Boys, where today we have Kwan.
Yeah! Warm welcome.
I would like to settle this thing because
let's settle the score, guys.
Because we mentioned something a while back and we got a really weird response, and now I'm seeing content everywhere where it kind of addresses the same thing, and I don't think we necessarily agree with it. Yeah. So here it is. Why do some people believe that dating outside of your race or having preferences outside of your race counts as self-hating internalized racism?
Are we in 1932? What the fuck kind of
Asian people?
That's the thing that is going around where like someone who says like, oh, you know, I like Puerto Ricans. Like, why do you hate yourself? Why do you hate Chinese people?
Well, that's already going in with the assumption that you're specifically seeking out another race.
Yeah.
It's because they're cherry picking, because they do exist. Like, these people do exist, right? Like, there are people that have some kind of trauma with their, you know...
The same with gender then?
No, with their own ethnicity. So like girls that might grow up with an abusive father or whatever, and then they have this weird trigger when it comes to, let's say, Asian girls that grew up with, you know, bad Asian men around them, right? So they have this trigger with whenever they see Asian men, and then they go, oh, I only like black guys, or I only like white guys, or whatever. And also, I seen this same case in like either adoptees or someone that grew up in an all-white neighborhood or something like that, where they're so accustomed to seeing like the popular kid, the hot guy is this one race, whatever, and then they just have a taste for that, and they can't see themselves doing other shit.
Or the inverse happens, where let's say you're just amongst nothing but like white people, right? And then now you're out of your race, and now you travel the world and you're an Asian, you're like, fuck, Asians are dope, or I don't know. It's
But I'm talking about the people specifically who are looking at the negative aspects of what exists and how they create this bias. So they create this bias because of these examples of self-hate, which it does happen. Yeah. But then the blanket statement that they create where every interracial mixed couple is self-hate, that's ridiculous. You're talking about fucking maybe racist. Billions of people. Yeah.
That's racist.
Right? Because I'm also thinking like, okay, let's say it is self-hate, who cares? Like, why? Like, how does it affect you?
There's
you know?
that
Like the
too.
people that judge and they go, oh, this is fucking self-hate. That's like you're with them. Right?
I actually think because they want the pussy themselves, but they can't get it.
That's the thing that
I think that's the biggest reason. They're like, she should be with me. Because if you hear a lot of the Asian guys that think like this, they're claiming the women as if they're the entitled to them. Right. Like, oh, they're taking our girls.
Right.
So in their head, it's like, that was supposed to be my potential mate that you took away from me.
Right.
So then the psychology behind
it. So it's like a projection.
It is. It's like, why does he get to have my woman?
And that's their explanation to make sense of the situation too, I think. I think they just go there.
Yeah. But when guys are like, you know, like there are actual girls that harmfully will say, I only date white guys as a method of like feeling like that makes them better.
That's also true too.
That's true.
Yeah,
that
I'm
is
not
true.
gonna deny that exists. That exists all the time. Yeah.
But I think when a guy responds to even that by saying like, "Oh, you just hate your own race," blah, 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 I also think there's parts of that.
I think both of them are weird.
I think they're meant for each other.
Yeah.
They should get married.
Yeah, there is that too. Because I thought it was really weird that when certain, like even when I was saying like, oh yeah, when I date a Filipino girl, I felt odd, uncomfortable feelings of a paternal thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
I felt that way growing up.
Like
Wait, what?
familial. Like it felt like I was like
too close to home.
a little bit. Yeah, but then
Dating your sister or
but
something.
then people
Wait,
were
what?
like,
For me,
Really?
yeah.
What?
but you know what? But you know what?
But Ryan was dating his cousin though. It's different.
Yeah,
You
I was
were?
doing that. Yeah, but then that
Wait,
was
what?
But that was hot. So, no, the difference.
Well, it's your real sister is hot.
But I figured it out. What made me feel that way?
Did you really? We're not fucking moving on.
I did, but then no, that's a different.
Was it
spicy
first
episode.
cousin? Second cousin?
No, it was not like that. It was just not like that.
Subscribe to the channel. And
Patreon?
But I realized why I developed that feeling.
Why?
And it's this very specific thing. So this is my history of ex-girlfriends. It goes Filipino, Filipino, Korean, Filipino, Chinese, Chinese, Filipino, white. Okay, and the reason for that is because
You had 10 girls.
well, that's 25 years of dating, and then my current
I don't have that, man.
girl now is like 8 of those years. But up until then, I was just an idiot. I don't think it's cool that you date a lot of people. That's dumb. But
There's nothing wrong with dating a lot of people.
what happened to me is that what I realized through dating Filipino people is that I am not the orthodox dream of a Filipino parent that their daughter is dating me. Like, I'm not the first pick. I have a weird fucking life. I wasn't getting good grades.
He's not a nurse.
Not the
Yeah.
traditional
Exactly.
Filipino.
So my thing that I dealt with a lot of the
They
time,
either dancing or play basketball or something.
Very-
But they want the medical
they
Filipino.
don't want that.
That's right.
They want an X-ray Filipino. They want a fucking pharmacist Filipino. They want a nurse Filipino.
So what I dealt with, even when I was dating, Chinese girls
Ayo.
or Korean, like what happened to me every time in those early years was I would have to feel like I'm doing parental approval all over again.
Because your own parents already.
I was already
Yeah.
dealing with that in my own family. Like I was
Absolutely.
dealing with, and I already coped with it. I already said, all right, I'm the black sheep. I suck ass. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And then I go to my partner's family, and they feel the same way about me.
Oh, that's.
And it's hard. It's like, oh shit, like I have to like, and they're even more predisposed to not like me because they have to protect their daughter.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. And then later on, as I started dating outside of Asians, I found that when I dated, and these aren't just like California white partners I had. It was Nashville white, Tampa white, Denver white.
Tampa white is a different
Swedish
type of
white, and now Australia white. And every one of those things, the parental feelings were more like they wanted me to feel good about myself.
That's awesome.
More open.
And I really understood that, like, in my particular situation where there are qualities about me that I appreciate and I enjoy about myself, and they'll never be appreciated by certain parents, and that's totally understandable. But I won't ever be able to impress them enough because I don't feel confident in myself with them. And I want them to get the dream son-in-law that they want.
Yeah.
So it never worked out for me dating Asians for that reason specifically. And I think because of my unique experience, I took with me an odd trauma and like an odd taste of like, oh God, dating a Filipino girl makes me feel like I have to fight this battle all over again. Yeah.
Dating Asians to me felt like dating outside of my race. Because I'm Japanese.
Yeah.
Like in America, everything is like Asian. It's like you're grouped up into one group, but we're not the fucking same, dude. Like,
Anthony has the best fucking reaction.
He's like this.
I mean, Japanese is Asian, right? But then the when you're in Asia,
Don't say that on camera.
they don't fucking see it that way. They're like, I'm fucking Chinese. What are you talking about? Like that, we're so different. Like it's a different world, completely a different world. So then like, I never even saw it as like I'm dating my own kind.
But how do you
then-
respond to someone that's calling you self-hating, internalized racist? Because you're dating Hannah.
Mike, that's your problem.
Or yeah.
that sounds like a personal
Or because
problem.
you're with Hannah. Yeah.
I think where they are so stupid and inexperienced is it's hard enough to keep any relationship, period. It's hard enough to have someone love you and want to be with you and stay with you. You just gotta hope that the person that you're with will tolerate your shit and stay with you as long as possible. So most people that are making these claims, they're in loveless worlds. Like they don't know what it's like to try to hold on to something.
I think that's the explanation, though. The people that say that about like, oh, you hate this race, or you're not gonna date this race because you're self-hating. I think it's a oversimplification. I think the more likely answer is that
Well,
they
and it's
haven't been.
racist to a certain degree. It's so racist.
It's like, okay, yeah, that could be a potential, but more likely it's what Joe's saying. It's like,
It's like
it's hard to be in a relationship. It's really
that's
fucking
fine.
hard.
Perspective is so surface that they think that that's the only like determining factor that a couple stays together.
Yeah. While it's it can be a big talk, like it can be a big part of a relationship, and I think before people think of like, oh, when you date outside your race, it is a big deal, especially in Asian communities. But I don't know.
Well,
I
it's
just
a
think
big
it's
deal,
not fair.
and like to your point, Joe, where you're saying that just to be in a relationship in general is really difficult because you're bringing two separate people that have separate worlds, now combining these separate worlds and kind of combing through all that. And then when you're dating outside of your race, there's this other added layer of like, you're not dating someone that grew up in a sort of similar cultural background.
Yeah, why would you want to make it harder on yourself?
Make it harder on
Right.
yourself.
You're not trying to make it
really
difficult.
it does add another layer of complexity now that like there's two cultures kind of coming together. So yeah, I don't think people want to make it harder for themselves on purpose.
But we're all in interracial mixed
Except that guy.
marriages. But I would consider
I guess you are.
According to him, us Asians are not the same.
Not
Yeah.
the same.
You are. I take that back.
The only thing that brings Asians together is the ground foundation of Confucianism. That's it. We have a hierarchy and like fucking piety shit, where it's like your government parents, all that, like the structure is the same. So you bring a bunch of Asians together, then you can like assemble and work.
Yeah, I also think it's like a highly. I think the more you get into relationships and understand how people work in society, it becomes highly individualistic. And I think people that have those blanket statements, they're still stuck in that phase where they just see like all zebras are zebras. You know what I mean? Like when you go to like a dog breeder, if I'm not in the fucking golden retriever world, yeah, they all look like golden retrievers, but they can tell, oh yeah, like Sammy likes to fucking chews on her foot. Fucking Timmy likes to shit on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, and like they look at
Alex Asians.
yeah, they look at all golden retrievers and they can tell all the individualistic things about each other because that's what they're looking at.
Yeah.
They're not looking at the surface like looks and skin color or whatever.
Yeah, you
Right,
basic
right,
ass
right.
bitches.
You know, like
Also, I like to think that, like, let's say you go to a like Japan or China or any of these, they're predominantly one ethnic group, one race. So it's like you come to a place like America that's like a melting pot of a lot of different people. You're gonna have people that marry different people.
It happens,
You're
yeah.
gonna get a mixed bag.
And it's not good or bad, or it doesn't make you better. It's just you fucking fell in love with this guy.
Yeah.
I
People just have
also
preferences.
Or a
you know?
guy.
I also don't like that statement of like your own kind, because if we're an American, our own kind
Is
like I
American.
have,
We're American, yeah.
I have way more similarities with like
You went outside of your.
I know, I fucking. What am I doing?
I have more similarities with like, let's say the Mexican kids in my neighborhood that I grew up than Japanese kids in Japan.
I can see that.
So I'm like, why do Asians and other people believe that they're their old country?
Because it's racist.
I don't fucking know, man. Like, we're Americans and like it's a very unique experience.
I also don't think some of these people have dated enough.
I don't
That's
think
true.
they
I
dated
think-
at all. Honestly, like that's my
I think
thing.
if you date enough
think so.
diverse people, you just figure out like it's just fucking love, dude. If it
They're
happens,
sticking to the rule, and they're right.
we all fucked up.
I do think though, from my experience, there's way more of a connection through class and maybe time of like shared memories of era. So like, let's say you're millennial with millennial, right? And then you have shared memory of Ninja Turtles or something like that. Or some phenomenon like Saved by the Bell. In a Western nation, a lot of us watch the same shows, right? And also like class, like if you're rich and you all had maids, you know what that's like. You know what it's like to have a servant. They're gonna connect, like a rich Indonesian's gonna connect with the rich British more than, you know, like maybe a poor Indonesian and a rich Indonesian. So like maybe the same foods you might eat, but I've had way more of a connection with class than race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And that's the same thing with me. It's like in some relationships I feel like Aladdin, in others I feel like Prince Ali. Either way, I'm Indian.
You should be Aladdin for Halloween one year, dude. Just to see what happens.
But then it's true, like, because a lot of these videos are, neck shark. Thanks for bringing
Oh
this.
gosh.
Thanks for bringing this to surface. A lot of these like videos are like guys that are like angry at Asian girls for saying that they only date whites. But it's like
you're losing.
It's
you're
also
losing.
I think
like-
also that statement though of someone saying I only date this thing
It's like
is
so
also
fucking
fucking
what?
weird.
It is super weird.
weird.
Fucking weird. I'd rather say like I only date people with good morals or like people that like I don't know. I'd rather go with
Big butts.
hobbies or some shit than like I only date this like it's weird.
But if
It's
somebody
fucking
really
weird to
does
me.
look at that like that makes them elite, like I only date white people, like let them have that fucking delusion. Like why does that affect you?
Yeah, and leave them
We don't
alone.
have a shortage of pure Asians. Still most of the
Cause she could be dating like kind of white, and then she thinks she's prestigious. Cause she's like, I'm with a white person, and we're just like,
No, but-
you're with Cletus, dude.
Cletus.
Yeah, but that is the stereotype though, is like you see some of these like these dork white guys like go to Asia and they think they deserve like the hottest Asian chick because they go, oh, Asian girls love us, you know, like but that's an ecosystem in itself. It shouldn't affect you. It shouldn't make you angry at them.
Statistically, they do have larger penises, so I mean, I get it sometimes.
Anthony, what team are you on, brother?
Oh, dude,
What team are you on,
I
brother?
thought the video's over.
Dude,
You
it's
just
not-
admitted you have a little dick.
No, I have an average one. White guys just have big dicks.
Dude, you sound like you want to marry a white guy.
on average, like you are.
I'm just jealous.
Yeah, dude, you're 6 foot. Shut up.
I'm
Your
5'12".
penis is probably big too.
Basically, the point is, if you fucking fall in love with someone outside your race, don't feel bad about that shit, and don't let someone else make you feel bad about that. It's fine.
Oh yeah, that's our stance.
But also,
Yeah.
like if they do have internalized racism, right? Like, what's the outrage toward? I feel bad.
I don't know,
Like,
yeah.
I actually feel. I don't know, like when I see someone like that hate themselves, maybe their culture, or they're embarrassed of it because maybe they grew up in a neighborhood where the kids around them made them feel less than, right? Yeah. So then they develop this internal, like, to me, that makes me feel sorry for them, not hate them.
Yeah, it
like
does,
I don't
yeah.
get angry at the girl for thinking she's superior because she's dating only white guys or whatever. I feel like, damn, how must that feel? You look at yourself in the mirror, you fucking hate your chinky ass eyes. You fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, I wish I was white, you know, and you fucking bleach your hair blonde and shit and all that.
That's different if you wish you were white.
And then I'm all like,
That's a different problem.
why? Like, that's so sad, right? Like, that's a mental
But
disability.
even then, to each their own issues. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like, everybody's different, and it's not to say that we're all supposed to agree like unilaterally. Everybody has to have the exact same idealisms and live by the same
Right.
principles.
I
you
love
know?
this.
But I don't
love
feel,
that.
I don't feel angry at her for doing that.
I went sideways.
I think I think also, like, how does that affect me and my ability to get women? Like, if she doesn't,
That's the bigger problem that
it's
people
like,
aren't thinking
who
about,
the
really.
fuck cares? And do you even want her? Is she attractive to you in the first place?
Shouldn't it just be her loss then?
That's how it should be seen. Yeah.
But that's why I think you're right when you say some guys have an animosity because they feel like they're entitled to this person's taste.
Or they use it as
And what's
like a,
preventing you from dating outside? Like, do you only prefer Asian women and you want pure Asian, like, superior race children? So, like, is that what you're trying to do? Is keep, you know, like, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah, it seems weird.
you don't get her, but what about all the other available women out there that are
There's
single?
lots of ways to, you know what? There's lots of ways to enrich your own community without putting your sperm in all of them. You don't have to fuck.
I love how that was a message for the camera. Like, you guys need to understand.
I do want to talk to these guys with these positions, though, and I actually want to know what their...
I think a lot of it too is like an excuse. It's easier to say that because it's like a bigger problem than you, and it kind of takes your own responsibility out of the situation of like, oh, I can't.
You're gonna change yourself and develop.
Kind of, yeah, because that's what. No matter what, if you're trying to, you want to be the person you want to be for the perfect wife or husband. Like, there has to be an aspect of you to change yourself or to better yourself or progress yourself. I think people don't. I think it's harder to not do that, you know. But also, I think people need to mind their own fucking business, you know.
Yeah, that too.
They need to mind their own fucking business. Stop worrying about who's dating who
That's
and
some,
just
like,
worry.
prom king shit. Right
Hey.
there. Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm still your man, bro. You better watch out. You
That's
can call
okay.
me that again.
I wonder
I'm
if
bringing that up.
there's, like, Asian guys out there in, like, the Midwest, in an all-white neighborhood, and then, like, these 3 Asian girls that he went up to were like, ew, well, Asian guys only date white guys. And then he's like, man, fuck this shit, dude. I didn't even do anything wrong, right? And I'm wondering, like, if I'm just in LA and I don't know these guys' lives.
That's true, too.
And that they built this animosity.
I think that's fair.
Cause that might, I could imagine that shit. Cause I'm in LA, dude, and like, also it's different, right? Like, we can actually get
really
girls.
give a shit about stuff.
Well, I also would.
Like if someone said that to you, you probably wouldn't care.
I would also imagine a similar scenario. Let's say as an Asian dude who like grew up in an all white like neighborhood, and like let's say I went to high school, right? And then some white chick starts dating this Asian dude because he's the one Asian dude there, and then other white homies are like, dude, that's messed up. You got to be dating your own kind. We would look at that and be like, that's some pure Aryan race shit.
Yeah.
So if it was going the other way and Asians are complaining about girls dating white dudes, isn't that some pure Aryan race type like mentality?
Yeah, brother, raise that hand up again.
I've heard the argument of people saying that white people don't say that about other white people, where they go, oh, dating him's like dating my brother.
I've heard it from a white girl.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
Well, no, I know a couple whites that say the same thing. They don't date other whites because it makes them feel like home, where they were from in Tampa. And like they're just like, I just don't. I feel like their experience is so similar to mine.
Yeah.
I want to date people with different experiences and different cultures.
Some people gravitate to the inverse.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and usually white people, it is their sibling and they're with them, and then they're just like, it is kind of like dating my brother, but he is my brother.
So it's okay.
But it's also funny that within just whites as a whole, there's way more diversity than, you know, Filipino Americans.
Yeah.
It's like this guy could be Polish or fucking something else.
Yeah,
Like,
they're all
True.
pretty white to me. Am I right?
I don't know, man. This is a weird. Why are we going backwards, dude?
I
Like,
don't know. Yeah, it's a weird thing.
we got some real elementary minds speaking out.
I think these dudes are just mad at a very specific type of girl.
Yeah.
And it's getting kind of bled over to just everyone in interracial
If
relations.
they're mad at themselves.
I think they're
too.
really just mad at
And
And they're
themselves.
empowered by the fucking keyboard.
Yeah, that's another
Oh,
thing.
they're simple-minded.
But these kind of thoughts still existed decades ago. I remember when we were coming up and like people still thought this way.
I think people have always been mad at themselves. Even like the stick it to the man, or people getting mad at fucking billionaires. It's just
Yeah.
people have their
They
own
blame someone
problems,
else.
and it's just way easier to blame something else.
Yeah.
Than to change
Yeah,
yourself.
they change it to like, man, fuck Elon, that fucking billionaire.
It's
or
way
fuck
more
Bezos.
comforting. You just feel better
I might
about
stop
yourself.
using Amazon then.
You're like,
He's
nah,
I love Amazon.
I gotta get my
dog.
Prime.
Just fuck Bezos.
I think some of these people also just really do not want you to think you're better than them.
But no, what I like about that statement is that they think you're even thinking about them in the fucking first
Yeah,
place.
it's like, no, dude,
I ain't thinking about you. I'm trying to fucking survive on my own right here.
yeah, I'm trying not to fuck up my own relationship.
Yeah.
Making videos about you. That's all. We're not thinking about you.
If you're
We're just directly addressing you.
a guy, you're sexless, you're loveless, you don't have any of that going for you, that's your fucking fault. Like, I think
You're speaking to me right now, dude.
that's it.
I feel like you're talking right at me.
It's up to you to go.
Talking to Nick.
You're looking right at me, dude.
Seriously, like, if you're not entitled to it, you have to earn love, you have to earn,
I'm trying to, dude.
you have to earn it. Like, that has to be, yeah, it's like you might think you don't have options, you could be bitter.
Yo, how do I earn love, though?
You gotta be Rico Suave.